Okay, the last video cut us off, and we were just completing the change in y's down here. So from -5 to +5 is a change of 10. From 5 to 15 is a change of 10, and from 15 to 25 is a change of 10. And these were all a change of 25, 25, and 25. Remember, it's the change in y over the change in x. My y's are down here, so all my y changes are 10, and the corresponding x changes are 25. So these are all equal. These are all our slopes. And so if I simplify 10 over 25, I get 10 is 2 times 5. 25 is 5 times 5. If I cancel out those 5s, I get 2 over 5, and that's my slope. So my slope is 2 over 5. Now my y-intercept, I can put one of these x's and one of these y's into my equation along with my slope and isolate b to get my y-intercept, and that's terrific. But look right here. This point right here, 0, 5, if I graph that, x is 0 and y is 5. This is the x-axis. If x is 0, I'm not going to go this way, and I'm not going to go this way. I'm going to stay right here, and then I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, that's touching my y-axis. That's my y-intercept. So for this particular equation, all I had to do is look here when x is 0 and y is 5 and know that that's my y-intercept. So that's my y-intercept. I can show it as 5, or more specifically 0, 5. And that's all I was asked to do in that particular problem. Number 3, a line passes through the points -9, 4 and 2, -5. What's the slope? Well, there's a couple ways we can approach this. I can graph it, although that's not the best way, but it's a great way to check. I got x and y here, and my points are x is -9, y is 4, and x is 2, and y is -5. So if I wanted to do the change in y over the change in x, if I went from -9 to 2, that means I would start at -9, go all the way to 0, and then go past 0 and go up to 2. So to get from -9 to 0, I would have to go 9, and then to get to 2, I would have to go 10, 11. So from -9 to 2, it's a change of +11. And then from 4 to -5, I would go from 4 to 0, and then I would go from 0 to -5. So that's a change of -4 here and -5 here. Altogether, it would be a change of -9. So this would be -9. So the change in y is -9, and the change in x is +11. And if you did it using the formula, then you would do, I have my 2 points, -9, 4, and 2, -5. This is x, this is y, this is x, this is y. We're going to call this point 1. We're going to call this point 2. And we're going to plug these values into our formula. Y sub 2 is -5 minus y sub 1, which is 4. X sub 2 is 2 minus x sub 1, which is -9. Now, this is the part you need to be really careful about. I have 5 negatives and I have 4 negatives. I'm going to combine them. 5 negatives and 4 negatives There's no positives to cancel these out, so altogether this is -9. And then look at this. This is 2 subtract -9. When you're subtracting a negative, it's the same exact thing as adding a positive. So this is really 2 plus 9. If I take 9 negatives away, you increase by +9 if I take those 9 negatives away. So this is 2 plus 9, which is 11. And there's the slope of your line. It looks kind of weird, but it's legit. So the slope of the line is -9 over 11. And that's exactly the same answer when we did it using the change in y and the change in x, -9, 11. A line passes through the points 8, 1 and 7, -1. What is the equation of the line? We need the equation this time. We need y equals mx plus b. So I'm going to need an m and I'm going to need a b. So the first thing I'm going to do is find my slope. So I have 2 points. I can do it this way. So my first point is 8, 1, and my second point is 7, -1. So I can do changes. When I go from 8 to 7, I'm going to the left, to the left on my number line. From 8 to 7 would be a -1. And if I go from +1 to -1, I'm going to the left 2, so that would be -2. Be careful, the change in y goes on top, and that's this one down here. It's -2, and the change in x is -1. A negative divided by a negative is a +2. So your slope is +2. If you did use the formula and you had the points 8, 1 and 7, -1, x1, y1, x2, y2, slope is y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. Plug in those values. Y sub 2 is -1. Then I have to subtract y sub 1, which is 1. And on the bottom, I have x sub 2, which is 7. And I have to subtract x sub 1, which is 8. Be very careful. This is tricky stuff here. Lots of people want to tell me that this is 0, but if you look at it like this, I have one negative and I have another negative, and if I combine those together, I have 2 negatives. I have 7 positives and 8 negatives. If I combine those together, I have 1 extra negative left over, so that's -1. Negative divided by negative is a positive, and that equals +2. So that's your slope. But we want the equation of the line, and neither one of these is my y-intercept, so I'm going to have to figure out the y-intercept the old-fashioned way. So we just figured out that our slope was +2.